Let's chat with Grace. Hey, I'm so excited. Today we have two really great investors. We have Skip Pond, who's one of my favorites. I follow him all the time. And then we're going to have Tuba Warden, who is also a really great investor. They both have very unique strategies, but I thought it would be fun to kind of have a male and a female aspect of investing. So, Skip, I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you.
You are one of my favorite investors. I love following what you're doing. Skip has an enormous background in both new construction, investing. And Skip, how many years have you been doing investing?
I started with my first property in 1999, so about 23 years.
23 years. And let me tell you, you have quite the portfolio now, don't you?
I do. Thank you.
He has done an excellent job. If you're a young investor, you want to have Skip as a mentor. Let me just tell you that, because he has done it right. He's done it very smartly. And if you had his portfolio when you were 50 now, you would be really excited for retiring.
Absolutely.
So Skip, you worked with...
I was with Hutton Development for about 15 years,
Yeah.
so real estate was a side gig for me for a long time before it was a full-time thing. And like you said, we built it slow and steady over the years and just chipped away at it, and now we're at a 110-door portfolio.
which is awesome.
Yeah.
And it allowed you to really kind of jump off the corporate bandwagon and go in full time a couple years ago, right?
Yeah, we've been in it full-time now for 4 years.
Yeah. And your wife is involved with the real
Yep.
estate?
A little bit, yep.
Yeah. She keeps, what does she do for you right now?
She keeps me sane mostly. There's always something with that many pieces in the portfolio. There's always something going on.
Yeah. And you have single family, multifamily, duplexes.
Yep. We started out with single family houses only. We had duplexes in the early years, and we built some townhomes. We own a small multifamily building downtown here, and then we've got other developments that are in the process.
That's great.
Yeah.
Have you stuck to Chattanooga, or have you reached out a little bit?
We've done a little bit of work in Nashville. That's a very competitive and fast-growing market, a lot different than Chattanooga. We've always been slow and steady in Chattanooga, and like that. We have dipped our toe in the water in Nashville, though, and the developer that I worked for years, we did work in 42 states, I think. So, yeah, corporately, we've worked all over the place.
So, okay, knowing what you know now, what would you have done differently when you started?
I probably would have grown faster knowing now what I knew. If I'd have known then what I know now, I would have probably grown the portfolio faster. It was hard in those early years when we just had a few. That's hard work until you get to a certain point where you can outsource things and get more people on your team to make things easier. I would have put more effort into building it faster than I have.
So, how many doors a year do you think would be a smart strategy?
My sweet spot where I decided that I was really going to be in it was at 20 doors. It became manageable at that. And then, as it grew, I don't know, I walked away from corporate when we were at 80 doors, which was tough. I mean, I was doing 3 full-time jobs from 5 in the morning until 10, 11 o'clock at night sometimes. So it's hard to get it to that point, but you got to get some critical mass before you have enough going on to really live off of it.
And I think that's a real key strategy that Skip has been very smart about, because a lot of people think that they can do it right away, full time. And that's just really tough to do.
It is. We're in the long-term game, build or buy and rent. A lot of folks are into flipping and wholesaling, and that's good, and you can make money doing that. It's not what we've tended toward. I've seen more benefits in building and buying and holding, especially long-term with, the appreciation that we've had in our Chattanooga market over the last few years. It's been worth the wait for sure.
Well, and that's very key. A lot of people, every investor takes a little bit different strategy, but I've always told people that in general, the buy and hold, if you want a financial portfolio of real estate, is really the only true way to get there.
Yeah.
Flipping can help you get cash
Mm-hmm.
to work towards your buy and hold. But truly, buy and hold is the real key.
Yeah.
Now, I know that you've been kind of thinking about short-term rentals. Where are you at with that right now?
We dipped our toe in that water about 6 months ago, so we've got one, and then we've got some others that we're going to convert. It's a strong market for that. Our world has changed a lot, especially since COVID. A lot of people are living in short-term rental units. We see nomads that are traveling around the country or around the world.
Mm-hmm.
So we see more of that happening in our portfolio coming up. We've got another handful that we're going to convert here over the next 3-4 months. Again, just wanted to dip our toe in that water first and see how it works, because it's a different ball game.
It's a real different ball game.
It is. Yeah. You're dealing with people on a daily or a weekly basis versus on an annual basis with a long-term rent. But so far, we've seen the rewards there. I mean, the numbers that everybody advertises, we've seen prove out in the one that we've tested.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll probably do more of it coming up.
Okay. Well, the next question is this. What was your biggest success in your investing career so far?
Biggest success? I think I have to look at that sort of holistically with, like I said, with the appreciation that's happened in the market. I never designed my model for what we've seen over the last few years and the explosion that's happened in our market. Chattanooga was a 3% appreciation market as far
Mm-hmm.
back as we can remember, and that's kind of how we built our business based on that. And we've had a pleasant surprise over the last 2 years with the real pop that we've got in our market. And, I think Chattanooga's got staying power. We've got a great economy here, and I feel like those gains are going to be locked in.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, that's been the biggest success.
It's just kind of taking the strategy of the tortoise.
Yep.
Slow growth, not focused on the hair.
Yep.
Fast, quick.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's been very interesting because we've had over the last 2 years 20% increase in appreciation both years.
Yep.
Which has really been crazy.
It's been wild.
And I will reach out to Skip and say, Skip, you ready to sell something? Got lots of people ready to buy it. He goes, nope, I'm holding on to it.
Yeah.
I'm in this for the long game, and I'm not, because we've had some investors that had a lot of appreciation,
Mm-hmm.
and they made the decision that they wanted to get out of the single family, go more into multifamily,
Yep.
maybe some townhome products. So they wanted to take that cash and put it into something else.
Yep.
But I bet you've seen some pretty good appreciation in some of your single family homes, haven't you?
It's been wild, and we've been able to squeeze equity out of them to go do other projects without having to turn the portfolio.
Mm-hmm. So refinance.
Yep. But yeah, I've got friends that have been in are generational developers and investors in Chattanooga that I thought would never sell property here. And it's been so sweet that, they've let part of their portfolio go.
It's a tough decision to make, but, if you're trying to get into a different avenue of investing,
Yep.
sometimes it makes sense to just let go. Like, we really worked hard to let go of our single family because
Mm-hmm.
for us, it was more challenging than it was worth.
Sure.
We wanted to get into more commercial. So,
Mm-hmm.
I think as people change in their life mission or their age,
Right.
they look at different strategies. So
Yep.
now you're in your early 40s. You just had your 40th birthday a couple of years ago.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So what do you see maybe your strategy changing at all in the next 10 years?
I don't know. We talked about the short-term rentals. That's something that I'm excited about right now.
Mm-hmm.
And then, I've got 2 young kids that hopefully they'll maybe want to get into the business at some point in time. I don't know. For the foreseeable future, it'll be still build and hold. I still enjoy doing that, and we've seen great benefits from it. So I'll probably stay that course.
More single family, multifamily, combination.
I like the small multifamilies. The development projects that we're working on now are those. We've done a lot of infill, as you know, through the years in the downtown area. And there's a desire now for more density, with the political administration, with more people coming into Chattanooga. They want more density downtown, and we're in the process of figuring out how to do that, not on large-scale developments, but on small-scale developments that we can squeeze into neighborhoods. And I think you've been involved in some of those.
Yeah. So, affordability, a real big challenge.
Yep.
And Skip, you've been really involved in that over the years with C&E and different projects of ensuring affordability projects. Where do you see that right now?
It is, it's the double-edged sword of the growth that we've had here. The 20% year-over-year growth that you mentioned. It has really made it challenging for people that we've rented to on an affordable level for years and years. And you've got all this activity in the market that's driving everything up. It's a tough challenge. Like you said, with C&E, we're helping them build 50-something units right now that'll be locked in to affordability for 20 years, and that happens through government grants and different sources. Private developers, it's hard to make that happen, especially in the environment that we're in now. You see costs rising with materials astronomically. The labor force has been decimated by COVID and everything that's going on in our economy. It's really tough right now. Product that we were building for, example, $100,000 5 years ago will have cost in it now of $150,000 to $160,000 a unit. You just can't make that affordable. There's no way to push that cost down.
So really, it sounds like one of the only opportunities is if the government steps in with some grants for developers that kind of give them additional resource funds that you can build affordable again.
Yep, you got to get that capital stack with some of those grant funds in. With C&E, they use private foundation money to sort of buy those projects down to get them to where people can actually afford, workforce folks can afford them.
Yeah, you're seeing a lot. I see it all over next door. I have to move out. Rents are going up. I can't find a place anymore that's based on my budget.
Yep.
So it's a real challenge that we all face, as being community minded, trying to be investment oriented.
Yep.
During COVID, did you see any challenges with rents?
We had very few during COVID. The aftermath has been worse, but there's been good programs through THDA in the state, managing federal funds. We've had, probably a couple handfuls of tenants that have used those grant monies to help them through job losses, or, we've had illnesses in part of our client base. In COVID in 2020, we didn't see that much problem, but afterward, sort of the aftermath of that, we saw more, and we're still seeing some of that trickle out as people use the grant money, but it was not as big of an impact as what it could have been.
Yeah. I mean, talking to some investors around the country, they were really pretty devastated with their portfolio, with, what was going on.
Yeah.
So I think Chattanooga is very fortunate that we have such a growth going on in our community.
Yep.
So just any last words of wisdom for young investors thinking about retiring?
Yeah.
You've got a great wealth of information.
For young investors, I talk to young people all the time and have for years, as long as I've been doing this. I think that first one for a lot of people is hard to make the step into getting started. I would just say you just got to do it. Stop analysis paralysis, as a lot of people call it. We can all analyze things to death. At some point, you just have to push the button and go. And after you do that first one, it'll lead to the second one, the third one, and then however many you want to do. But you got to just make that first step and get started. For the folks that are on the retirement end, a long-term investor told me one time, he said, I can tell you all day long how to get this started. I can't tell you how to get out of it though.
Well, what happens a lot of times, what I see is that the husband dies who had it for a long time. The wife's sitting there going, oh my God,
Yeah.
I don't have any interest in this.
Right.
So then it's creating an exit strategy.
Yep.
What are the pieces that are the toughest to deal with? Let's work on those. And so, yeah, I mean, if succession planning is probably pretty important. And,
It is. And I think it's difficult in real estate because you rack up depreciation. So you've got, the bigger that portfolio gets and the longer it goes on, you've got a severe tax consequence once you get to the end of the life of those assets. And for somebody that's getting ready to retire, succession planning is key. Using 1031 exchanges to move into other assets and mitigate that tax damage is
really important. And, and 1031 exchange, I did over 42 million last year in 1031 exchange.
Wow, that's awesome, Grace.
But it was, it's fun and it's difficult because when people are going through that, it's very stressful because it's very time limit oriented.
Yep.
So, but yeah, 1031 exchange is a great way to kind of transition to different areas, and it's a lot broader than you think. For example, you can sell a multifamily building and buy a farm.
Right.
It's not so I have to buy multifamily to multifamily. So, hey, Skip, it was great to see you today.
Good
As
to see
always, you're such a fantastic investor. If you ever have a chance to sit down and have coffee with Skip, take advantage of it.
Thank you, Grace. Appreciate you.
Thank you.